Welcome back, guys, to the live stream here at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. We're this time here for qualifying, and as you can see on your screen, the graphic has been fixed, so we don't need to put not qualifying anymore. So anyway, once again, I'm JW97, and again, I am joined by Ray Hall again.
Yep, hello once again.
Hello, and as you can see for qualifying, very interesting stuff. Q1, we're going to have 100% rain. From the looks of the colour, it's going to be normal wet. Q2, 45% chance of rain, but for Q3, it's going to be bone dry. So first two sessions, you'll see some rain. A chance of rain for Q2 at least, because we know how Grand Prix 4 is like. But for Q3, no rain at all. So it's going to be very interesting. But it's not going to be changeable, this, so it's just going to be consistent rain. So we shouldn't expect a mixture of a grid unless we have people getting held up in traffic like we saw in practice. But I think without further ado, let's get into the first qualifying session of the day. So what are you expecting then for the first quali? Leave your prediction on who you think is going to get knocked out. Who do you think will get knocked out, Ray Hall?
To be honest, I would be surprised if one of the Williamses goes through. But for me, I'd say both Manners, or maybe a Williams, a Toro Rosso, and maybe a Renault. I think I forgot someone else, but yeah.
Okay. I think both Manners are going to get eliminated. I don't think that's a surprise. I think we're going to see one Haas get eliminated because I think one of them might actually get through. I think one Williams might go through, but I think one of them will be eliminated. Then I think maybe I'm going to go for a punt and say a Renault might get eliminated, oddly enough. So I'm going to take a punt on that. And then I'm going to say maybe a Toro Rosso, I'll say. So that's what I think anyway. But leave your thoughts in the stream chat, guys. As expected, as I predicted correctly, normal wet. Oddly enough, for OC, we haven't really seen the intermediate tyres for a while, which I found quite interesting. The green Inter tyre. So it's been a while since we've seen that tyre in use. We've normally just seen the normal wets, and obviously last week the extreme wets, which George didn't notice in the highlights commentary, but we move. Anyway, as you can see, Motrin is the first out on track, along with the likes of Lynn Campana, Franco Lopez, Chris Chatfield, and just there, Evan Byrne's just come out onto the racetrack. Obviously, everybody will be going out onto the racetrack, so there's no real excuse for the first run. I don't know if it's a bit similar with GP2 in terms of only one car gets left behind after the first runs or not, but that's that. Sometimes Grand Prix 4 likes to variate with that sort of thing. I've noticed at least anyway. So Roland Motrinelli making his way around the long right-hander, obviously a lot slower than what it was in practice. So obviously the rain is coming down for this session. And please be careful, everyone, of your magic brakes in the wet. Yeah. That term came about because of Lewis's little straight-on incident, which made somebody press Mark Webber's bollocks a little bit. But anyway, so we'll go into the last chicane now then.
Hashtag demonetized.
Yep, sorry about that, you two. But anyway, as now we go towards the final corner, and Rotchen will be starting the first flying lap. He'll be setting the benchmarker time for everybody to beat. And let's see now then what Motrin can do, as he'll now make his way towards the first few corners on the racetrack. Down this long straight, the longest run down towards the first corner. I'm not sure if any other track has a longer run than this, but I think this is probably the longest run that we've got on the calendar from memory. So
Mexico must have a longer run down to turn one.
Oh yeah, definitely. As Motrin now then makes his way towards the fourth corner on the racetrack, 23.4 in the first sector. About a second or two off from what it would be in the dry, because obviously there's not that many corners to negotiate in the first sector, and it's usually the near flat out anyway. Obviously they're a lot slower in the wet, of course, but you get the gist. So Motrin now then making his way down towards the left-hander, which isn't classed as a corner for some odd reason. I don't understand why. You might have to ask the people who make the circuit that either. But anyway, through turn 6 and 7 we go, heading towards the very slow turn 8 corner, around the long swooping right-hander, before making their way down the straight, heading towards the exit, the end of Sector 2 now then, towards this hairpin, which only exists now for the World Rallycross Championship, but there we are, through the hairpin. Out of the corner we will now go, before making their way towards the left, and then through this long swooping right-hander. And so now and now make their way towards the final chicane on the racetrack. So through the right, then into the final chicane we will now go then, flicking it through the left, and then into the right. And coming out of that Mickey Mouse chicane, we head off into this final corner, which is flat out, and I'm pretty sure it'll just be about flat out in the wet conditions, because we'll obviously be approaching it at very low speeds. But the benchmarker time is going to be for Roland Motrin, a 1:36.001. Remember, there is a soft normal wet tyre and a hard normal wet tyre, so we'll be able to see the difference of who's on the hard and who's on the softer compound of wet tyre. Here is Lopez now then, who's going to be coming across the line, and he is 5 tenths quicker than Motrin to go to the top. Here is Chris Chatfield, meanwhile, in the Haas. It looks like he might have gone for the harder of the normal wet tyres, and he's 3 seconds off of Lopez. Here comes Lean Campana now then. He'll make his way down the pit straight, and he goes into third position, obviously on the softer tyre. Willows goes into second place, 2 tenths off of Lopez. Here comes Evan Byrne in 6th position, obviously on a harder tyre. Chung goes into 4th position that time by. Gamba goes to 5th. Here is Jay McKenzie now then, making his way down the pit straight, and he goes into 6th position. Amar Khan goes to the top now by 3 tenths of a second out of Lopez. De Rosa, meanwhile, goes to 7th. We now look at George Rope. He makes his way down the pit straight, and across the line he will now go. It looks like he's on the harder tyre, and he goes into 10th. Here comes Gabriel Gomez. He slots tonight. Of course, he has the 10-place grid penalty, so wherever he ends up in this session, he'll drop 10 places back. His teammate Videri goes behind him in 10th position. David Cupop, meanwhile, goes into 10th. Here comes Paulino Tomaselli, who's on a very good lap, and he goes fastest by 3 thousandths of a second ahead of Carr. As Gal goes into 3rd position, Fosbury goes into 18th. Here goes Matteo Catalan in the Toro Rosso. He goes into 7th position. Here goes Maxim Titkov now then in the Manor, making his way down at the pit straight, and let's see what the Manor driver can do. Across the line he will go, and he goes into 14th position. Felix Sontag now then comes across the line, and he goes into 21st behind Fosbury. As here is Rosetta Martinez. See what he's able to do, and across the line he will go, and he slots into last behind Sontag. You can quite see the difference between a soft normal wet and a hard normal wet. Whether this was a mistake from Rosetta Martinez or whether it was just down to the tyre, we'll have to see. I think it was probably just down to the tyre in the end for Rosetta Martinez, as Titkov got some very healthy slipstream there from Sontag, which obviously gave him a little bit of an advantage on his lap there. So, and that's obviously why Sontag possibly lost time as well, because he was busy getting overtaken by Maxim Titkov. But anyway, they are the first set of laps done, and at the moment, surprisingly, Tomaselli is at the top. And it's not like Carr is on the hard normal wets, because they look like he was on the soft normal wet. So a very impressive time from Paulino.
Yeah. Very impressive from Paulino Tomaselli. I mean, a 1:34 is still possible in this qualifying session. Can anyone get it? That's the thing.
Indeed, definitely. As mentioned earlier, Carr was on, it looks like, judging from the lap times, he was on the soft normal wet tyre, so that was just an impressive lap from Tomaselli in the end to get above Amar Carr, and it's not like the conditions are changing either, so that was just a very good lap from the Italian, it must be said. A lot of people tipping him to be a future world champion in the OC, me included in that list. So, in terms of naming him as a future world champion, as Motrin being wheeled back into the garage by his crew, currently in 6th, not a bad time from him either in the Racing Point, as everybody will be coming back in and all be preparing for a second run. Obviously, some people will probably be trying to go on the softer normal wet tyre, so we might see the positions straighten out, so to speak, being normal positioning, but we'll have to wait and see. Whether Tomaselli can somehow keep hold of the top of the timing sheets, we'll have to wait and see. As obviously, guys currently in the drop zone involve Roke, Chatfield, Byrne, Fosbury, Sontag, and Martinez. Titkov, 14th, not bad for him at the moment, Rahul, even with that slipstream.
Yeah, indeed, it wasn't a bad lap from Titkov, but still, it could all change. Because looking at the gaps, it could change.
Indeed, over 11 minutes ago, some of them clearly on the harder normal wet that time by, so we'll have to wait and see. And sorry if you can hear some dogs in the background. Some people, the neighbourhood that I live in, basically where I live in, it's full of dogs. So excuse if any barking is being picked up on the microphone. So do apologise for that. As Titkov making his way back into the pit lane there, and he'll be wheeled back into the garage by the Manor pit crew. And with just over 11 minutes to go in this session, Anything could still change, as Ray Hall just said a little bit earlier. Everybody back into the pitch. We're just waiting for some movement now to happen, which has come in the form of Franco Lopez, who currently finds himself in 4th position. The championship leader now then going out onto the racetrack and finding himself with a 26-point cushion ahead of Joseph Willows in the Drivers' Championship, and looking to see if he can increase that this week as well here at Catalonia, where Mercedes actually got a 1-2 here as well. So looking to make it 2 in a row if they can. Here at Catalonia, as Lopez makes his way around the long swooping right-hander before making his way towards the next long swooping right-hander, although this one's taken at a bit more of a slower speed than what the first one was. So that's that really. Of course, you obviously in normal dry conditions, these corners will obviously be a little bit more quicker, but of course it's wet, and it should be remaining as normal wet conditions for the entirety of the session. There will be a consistency when it comes to the conditions. So Lopez now then making his way around the turn 6 and 7 chicane. As now through the long swooping right hand of turn 8. So we have just under 10 minutes to go in this session. As everybody, unless it has the GP2 system where somebody gets left behind, everybody should be coming out. I have to wait and see on that. I have to keep an eye on the pit symbols on the left hand side on the timing tower there. Lopez now then around the long swooping right hander he will go, before making his way towards the last chicane on the racetrack, flicking it in for the right, and then into the final, into the Mickey Mouse chicane we will go, just avoiding the sausage curb on either side, or the sleeping policeman as some people call it as well. As coming out of the final corner and onto the pit straight we will now go, and Lopez is going to start his lap now then, and let's see if he can improve from 4th position as he'll make his way down the pit straight, down the hill he goes then, this long run towards the first corner, making it through the right, then into the left, and then making his way towards the long swooping right-hander he will go, obviously a lot slower than what it would be in the dry, of course, because of course it's wet. Let's see what his first sector is like compared to Paulino, and he's 1/10 off of Paulino in the first sector, so it looks like he is on an improvement at this point in time. We'll have to see how he hooks up these last 2 sectors, of course, to see if he's able to keep it up. Lopez now then heading down towards the hairpin now then, flicking it through the left, using all the curb on the outside, before making his way down towards turn 6 and 7 on the racetrack. Flicking it in through the corner, obviously easy to drop it on the exit here when playing it on the game, of course, and obviously in real life. We haven't seen too many mistakes through into that corner, only understeer moments through there, not really spins coming off the exit out of that corner here in GP4 AC. Lopez's second sector, let's see what that's like. He's still up by 0.3 of a second on Tomaselli, so I should expect, unless he makes a very wild mistake in the last sector, he should be able to beat Tomaselli and go to the top of the timing sheet as he makes his way through that long swooping right-hander, and he should be able to break into the 134s as a result. Lopez into the final sector, into the final chicane he will go, flicking it in through the left, then into the right. Now he'll make his way towards the final corner, and onto the pit straight now then goes the Argentine, and Franco Lopez is going to cross the line, and he goes fastest, of course, by 0.3 of a second. So Lopez now goes to the top of the timing sheets. We look at Motrin, he doesn't appear to be improving at this point in time. Let's see where he can find himself, and he doesn't improve, remains where he is at the moment. Here is Joseph Willows now then in the Ferrari, makes his way down the pit straight. Let's see if he can improve, and he can. He goes fastest. Willows now goes to the top of the timing sheets by nearly 0.3 of a second. Gamba also on an improvement now. Let's see what the Red Bull driver can do, as Gamba now then is going to cross the line, and he slots into 3rd position, so he gets in for the Tomaselli, who, speaking of which, he's going to cross the line, and he doesn't improve that time by, remains in 4th. Here is Laura Chong, who's also on an improvement. Let's see if she can get to where Joseph Willows is. Laura Chong across the line, and she only goes 7th with that time, not the best of times for Laura Chong. Lincoln Parna, meanwhile, doesn't improve, remains where he is at the moment in 16th. Gabriel Gomez crosses the line, doesn't improve. Chris Chatfield, meanwhile, improves, but remains in 18th. Carr getting held up there by De Rosa, both of them not improving. Gal doesn't improve, remains in 6th position. Here comes Evan Burney's on an improvement, and he goes up into 8th position that time by. Here comes Jay McKenzie, also on an improvement. He goes up into 11th position. Here is Andre Videri with a train of cars behind him at the moment. Videri not on an improvement at the moment, currently on the cusp of Q2 at the moment, remains where he is. Fosbury improves, but remains in 20th position. Here is George Roke, also on the improvement. Let's see if he can improve. He goes only up to 13th that time by, so he pushes Videri into the drop zone. Sontag also on improvement. He goes up to 20th that time by, pushes Fosbury on the back row. Martinez crosses the line, and he improves but remains in last position. Kupak also on improvement, and he goes up to 10th that time by. So an improvement there for him at this point in time. But at the moment, Willows is at the top with Lopez in second and Garber in third. Tomaselli pushed down to 4th. So what did you make of them second runs that time by Ray Hall?
Yeah, it was good laps by Willows, Lopez, and Gamba. Good improvements with the soft tire of the normal wets. So, yeah, decent. And still take off on the cusp, but still safe at the moment.
Yes, indeed. At the moment, yeah, Titkoff currently on the cusp of that Q2 at the moment. He'll be hoping he can stay there for the remaining 5 and a bit minutes of this session. 5 3/4 minutes, I should say. But currently in the drop zone right now, we have Videri, Campana, Chatfield, Sontag, Fosbury, and Martinez. So we've got both Hasses in the drop zone, both Williamses in the drop zone, the Mano of Martinez, and of course the Alfa Romeo of Andrea Videri, who obviously had that amazing comeback through the field in Baku last time out to get up into what was on a technicality 6th position thanks to Chatfield's penalty after losing his front wing in the first few laps. So definitely having a very good debut season so far is Andrea Videri, you have to say, Ray Hall.
Yeah, been a standout so far. Been a real standout.
Absolutely. As just over 5 minutes to go in this session. And Campana will get wheeled back into pit lane. His mechanics. And I think we should have one more flying lap, I think, from the looks of it, from the lap time. So one more flying lap for each of these guys. So last chance for the bottom 6 to try and make an impression. Obviously, if they get below 1 minute 34, they won't be able to do a lap if they come out at that time, that is. So Campana... obviously back in his garage, he'll obviously talk it out and then try and get back on track to see if he can try and get that Williams scraped into Q2 as a Mercedes is coming out, and it's once again Franco Lopez. So just like last time, Lopez the first person to come out on what is looking like to be the final runs of Q1. As Lopez comes out of pit lane now, then he'll make his way down towards the first few turns on the racetrack. And currently finds himself 2 tenths behind Willows in second position and a further near 3 tenths ahead of fellow Franco Gamba, who's currently in third position. The top 3 in the championship currently occupying the top 3 positions at this point in time. Obviously Lopez and Willows the other way around, but that's that really. So Lopez now then going around the long right-hander. And let's see if anybody is going to be going out on the harder normal wets or whether they'll be switching on to the softer normal wets. We'll have to wait and see. Especially the guys who are a little bit further behind in the pecking order. We'll have to wait and see, of course. Lopez coming out of that hairpin as he'll make his way down the hill towards the next section of corners on the racetrack. Making his way towards turn 6 and 7. Obviously, that little left-hander doesn't count as a corner for some reason at Barcelona. A bit bizarre if you ask me, but whatever. As they come out of turn 8, Lopez will make his way towards the hairpin. People now coming out of pit lane, as you can see on the mini-map. Still some movement going on in pit lane though, but they should be all out before that 1 minute 34 barrier really. As Lopez coming down towards these next section of corners through the long swooping right-hander. And we'll soon be approaching the last chicane very, very soon. Into the chicane he will go. He will be starting his final flying lap. So I'll tell you what, Ray Hall, why don't you take us through a lap of the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya whilst we ride on board with Franco Lopez?
Yeah, sure thing. Lopez comes through the final corner of the sleeping policeman, and he gonna start his lap right about now. He starts his lap, going for the long straight, and now he will be braking hard into turn 1. He could have some traffic in front of him, so we'll see if that will bother him. And now he's going for it to turn 3. It is going to bother him actually. Unfortunately, Lopez's lap could be ruined. Let's see his sector time at the moment. He's not up on his personal best, so he's not improving at the moment. It was the Hassef Chris Chatfield who held up Lopez at turn 3, but he will still have more traffic to go through. But it is only for 1 lap. He goes for turn 5. It's now going into turn 7 and 8, I believe, 6 or 7. Then And now into turn 8. And see what he can do in the middle sector before he breaks out at the hairpin. He's not improving. He's 6 times down. It doesn't look like he's going to improve on his lap time. And he has one more sector to go. We have a Toro Rosso and a Renault battling. Getting very close to each other, it seems. So he won't be too bothered with that traffic, but he ain't going to improve, unfortunately, for Lopez. He comes around the final corner. Now let's see what this lap time's going to be. It's not likely he will improve, but let's see the lap time. It's a 1:35.3. Lopez
Not
did.
really a good. Yeah, not really a good lap there. We now look at Roland Motrin, who now makes his way towards the final chicane. He looks like he's not on an improvement either, but he's currently finding himself in ninth, so I think he's done all right to get himself into Q2 anyway, so it's not going to be too much of an issue, I don't think, for the Hungarian, the man who once again missed out on a podium. That podium drought still continuing for Roland, as Roland crosses the line and he does not improve there. We now look at Willows, who's improving on his time at the moment, at 1:34.390. Let's see if he can continue that in the last sector. Across the line comes Joseph Willows, and he does improve by a further time for 1:34.240, an improvement there for Joseph Willows. We now look at Franco Gamba. Across the line he will go, no improvement for him, remains in third position. We now look at Lincoln Parner, who is on an improvement. He desperately needs to try and improve if he can. Is he going to be able to get through, or will he be out? He goes to 16th, so he pushes Titkov down into the bottom 6 there. So Campana might have just saved himself. We'll have to wait and see what all the others do. Tomaselli now then comes across the line, no improvement for him. Here's Laura Chung, who is on an improvement. Can she beat Joseph Willows? No, she can't, but she makes it a Ferrari 1-2, so she goes up into second position as a result. We now look at Jared Fosbury, who is in the drop zone, and he's not improving, so at the moment Fosbury is going to be knocked out in Q1 again, but we'll have to wait and see, of course, as he makes his way around the final corner and onto the pit straight. He will now go. In fact, he's lost way of time. It looks like he may have made a mistake somewhere. In fact, it's going to be a woeful time, so Fosbury is out. What on earth has happened to Fosbury to be that far off the pace? Let's see. So, did he make a... Oh, he went off. Went off at turn 4. So Fosbury, any chance he had of possibly trying to get through into Q2 has gone like that. He locked up, probably aquaplaned a little bit, and went into the gravel. So Fosbury's lap completely ruined, and as a result, he is out in Q1, and he'll be starting on the back row, which is not great for Jared Fosbury. You can just see there, locking up, aquaplaning, and then going straight on into the gravel there. So not great there for Jared Fosbury. And so that's that then. He is officially out of in Q1 there, so that's not good for Fosbury. Here comes Matteo Catalan, who currently finds himself in 11th, doesn't improve. Byrne doesn't improve here, remains in 8th. Galmi Ra goes up, well, remains in 7th, but improves on his time. Here comes Kirishima DeRosa. He goes up to 8th, so an improvement there for him. Here is Titkov, he's in the drop zone, so far not improving. We'll have to wait and see if he can try and get back in front of Campana as he'll make his way down the pit straight. And Titkov now then is going to cross the line, and he doesn't improve, so Titkov is out of qualifying. Here is David Kupok, who is on an improvement, currently finds himself in 11th, and he goes up to 8th, so a big improvement there for Kupok. Here is Jay McKenzie, he's not on an improvement at the moment, currently 13th, and he remains in 13th at the moment. Carr doesn't improve, he remains in 6th position. Here comes Chris Chatfield in the Haas, and he doesn't improve, he is out, he remains in 19th, so both Haas's are out in Q1. Here is Andre Videri now then, he's going to cross the line, and he doesn't improve, remains where he is. He is out, in fact. Videri is out in 18th position. Sontag didn't improve. He's out in 20th position. Gomez, meanwhile, improves to go up into 14th position. And I think that is Q1 done with. So there you have it. Our bottom 6 are Titkov, Videri, Chatfield, Sontag, Fosbury, and Martinez. Whether they'll make a place up due to Gomez's 10-place grid penalty later on in the session, we'll have to see. But for now, Gomez is obviously through into Q2, so he continues for the moment as he tries to get as high up the grid as possible before that 10-place grid penalty comes into an effect. As we look at Gomez there then. So Willows topping the Q1 in the end, from Loa Chung in 2nd and Franco Lopez in 3rd position, followed by Franco Gamba, Paulino Tomaselli, Amar Carr, Mikolas Gal, and that's that. Kupok, DeRosa, and Byrne, who round out the top 10 positions. We just wait for people to come back into the pits before it says session over, and because there were some people who crossed the line before the session finished. I think they have done now, so I think we're going to go to the menu screen in just a little bit, which we do now, and there we have it then. So there you go. Willows, Chung, and Lopez are your top 3, and the bottom 6 are, of course, Maxim Titkov, Andre Videri, Chris Chatfield, Felix Sontag, Jared Fosbury, and Rosetta Martinez. So that is the end of Q1. Q2 coming up in just a little bit. What did you make of that session, Ray Hall?
Been a pretty interesting session. Martinez being 5 seconds off the pace. It does seem that he was on the hard, wet tires. So, yeah, you can see how he's been off the pace. So, compared to Jared Forsberry and everyone else. So, yeah. And
Yeah, not been the best of sessions, really, for Rosetta Martinez. So, as my YouTube is deciding to be a bit of a pain in the arse, I do apologise there. But anyway, obviously, we'll be waiting for Q2 to get underway. So leave your predictions on who you think will be out in Q2 and who you think will be making it into the top 10 shootout. It'll be very interesting to know what you guys think as well whilst we wait for Q2 to get underway. So as I just do some stuff for Twitter, of course, to fill the time, of course. And just checking to see if there's any which they aren't, thankfully. So leave your predictions in the chat, guys, on who you think will be making it through into Q3. Who'll be fighting out for pole, and who you think will miss out, of course. Obviously, Willow's topping Q1 there in the wet conditions. Obviously, Q2 we are expecting it to be wet, but that could change, of course, because we know how Grand Prix 4 is like when you have a 45% chance of rain. It could dry out and spread the 45% across on other parts, which it normally tends to do. So whether it could be dry for the beginning of it and maybe wet, we'll have to wait and see once we get to Q2, of course. But that is obviously going to be quite an interesting thing. And let me just get the results there whilst we the wait. So what did you guys make of that? Obviously, some of you are pointing out that Campana making it through just at the nick of time there. A good time for him there to get himself into Q2 and to out-qualify Felix Sontag as a result. So that's obviously good for him, of course. So we've got the stream now up for us for Q2, so we should be getting underway in just a little bit. And as you can quite clearly see, it is going to be dry for this session. So for the remaining 2 sessions, it's going to be a completely bone dry session. So we'll be seeing the medium tyres for the remaining 2 sessions of qualifying. So unfortunately, the rain has not come for Q2, but it only came for Q1 in the end. So we'll just wait about, guys, for Q2 to get going. Which is wait on the menu screen. So again, leave your predictions as I just quickly do the Twitter thing. So just bear with me, guys. If I can get it done before the first car gets out onto the track for Q2. So just bear with me, guys, as who decides to be a pain again. So I think we should be out in the garages, I think, and we are. So we're just waiting for Q2 to get underway. And just sorry if you hear me go silent for a bit. I'm just having to type it, so you can hear my keyboard again, unfortunately. Apologies for that. Just writing it down.
See a Toro also on track. It's David Kupok.
David Kupok, the first on track then for Q2. Nearly finished, guys. I'll be with you in just a minute. Just putting the rest of the tweet down for everybody to see on the Twitter. If you're on Twitter, of course, then follow us on at GP4_OC. So yeah, just putting a shameless plug in there whilst I'm kind of occupied at the moment, but I'm nearly finished, guys. Just give me a moment. And there we are, all done, nice and done. There we go. So now I'm back here and I'm looking at the screen. Kupok on track, and he's also joined by the likes of Campana, Catalan, Lopez, Motrin, and of course Gao. So anyway, so we have a dry session for this one. So pretty much everything that we saw in Q1 pretty much thrown out the window. Now we will see the cars really open up the taps, and we'll see the true pace of these cars in this session. Whether the Ferrari is able to repeat it, the performance that we saw in the wet conditions in Q1, we'll have to wait and see, or whether Mercedes can turn it up like we saw in practice, we'll have to wait and see, especially with Almar Carr, as Kupok makes his way through the hairpin there then, as he'll now make his way towards the section of corners through the long swooping right-hander, and just like in Q1, he's going to be the one to set the benchmarker time Well, in fact, like in practice, actually, I should say. Like in practice, he will be the one to set the benchmark of time for Q2 as he just makes his way through the final chicane. And now into the final corner he will go, and he will start his first flying lap of Q2. And we'll see the cars go a lot quicker. Obviously, we've got cloud cover, but we're not expecting rain in this session. And same for Q3 as well. Q-Pop making his way down the pit straight now, then heading towards the first few corners on the racetrack. Through into turn 1, flicking it in. Then into turn 2, flat out we go. And then it's going to be flat throughout this third corner now, then through this long swooping right-hander. And they're trying to get as close to the edge of the track as possible, as you want to get the best engines into turn 3, which is obviously a braking zone, but you accelerate at the middle of the corner. A 20.482 for Q-Pot there in the first sector, down towards turn 5. Very easy to lose the rear there as the car drops away from you into turn 5 there. Then through into the left-hander, which is not classed as a corner, through into turn 6 and 7 we go. In real life, it's very easy to lose the back end on the exit there, because again, the car can drop off quite easily. Through into this medium speed turn 8 now then, before heading their way down towards the hairpin now then on the track, this heavy braking zone of a hairpin where we've seen a few crashes over the years and a few overtakes. Hopefully we don't see too many this season as Q-Puck comes out of that hairpin. A 51.033 there for Q-Puck. Through the long swooping right hand, there we go. He will now make his way out of that corner now then on the racetrack, as he will now come towards the final chicane. Into this final chicane we go, flicking it through the left, and then into the right he will go before heading towards the final corner. And onto the pit straight now then will come David Q-Puck, and let's see what the benchmark time is going to be for the German. And across the line he will go, and it is a 1 minute 21.520, I believe that's 620, I should say. I do apologise. Miklos Gout across the line, and he goes to the top, of course. Here comes Roland Motrin. Let's see what he can do in the racing point, and he slots to second that time by. Here comes Franco Lopez around the final corner, going up on Gao in the sector times. Let's see if he's able to keep that up in the last sector. Lopez now then coming across the line, and he does. Lopez goes to the top by 3/10. Campana goes into 5th. Catalan, meanwhile, slots into 4th position ahead of teammate Q-Puck. Garber, meanwhile, crosses the line. He goes fastest to go above Lopez. Here comes Chung in the Ferrari. She slots into 2nd, 200ths off of Garber there. Here comes Mackenzie across the line. He will go in the Renault, and he goes into 8th position. Willows goes to 3rd there. Got a little bit held up there by Mackenzie there, it seems. De Rosa now then comes across the line, and he goes into 9th in the McLaren. Here comes Evan Byrne in the Renault, and he slots himself just behind Gal into 6th. Rote then goes into 6th, getting in front of Byrne. Here comes the man with a 10-place grid penalty. Gomez goes across the line, and he goes into just behind De Rosa. Tomaselli goes into 4th, so continuing his impressive run that he showed in Q1. Carr, meanwhile, he's going very quickly, and he goes fastest by just under a 10th ahead of Garber there. So after that first run, it is Carr at the top with Garber in 2nd, and Chung rounding out the top 3. So what do you make of those first ones, Ray Hall?
Yeah, pretty impressive lap by Paulino Tomaselli, 5th place at the moment, and George Rogue in the top 10 as well. So at the moment, both racing points in the into Q3 at the moment, but it could change, as I said. But yeah,
We'll see Gomez in 14th. If it stood like that, he will be starting in last for tomorrow's race, because of course he has that 10-place grid penalty for causing those 2 start collisions at Baku. One of them resulting in a bit of a pile-up, of course, between Catalan, Roque and Tomaselli, and the other one involving himself and Byrne, which took Gomez out of the race and caused Videri to lose his front wing in the process as well. Quite a chaotic start it was at Baku last time out. A lot of people thinking that the highlights were going to be over an hour long. Well, they didn't in the end. I find that quite interesting when I'm doing the highlights. For some reason, when we have a crash fest, the highlights seem to be a lot quicker. I presume because the replays kind of take most of the time up. I'm not really sure, really. It's quite a weird one with the highlights, I must say. But that's that. Anyway, Campana currently in 12th position at the moment. In fact, that doesn't say 12th, does it? That says 16th. The camera there kind of deceived. The quality of the stream there kind of deceived me there, so I do apologise. He's 16th, but so far having a good session, it must be said. He's out-qualified Sontag in this session, and looking to see if he can get as high as possible in this session at the moment. The top 10 currently separated by just under 1 second, so that's that at the moment. Motrin just in the cusp of Q3 at this point in time, but it must be said, the top 3 only separated by 400 a second, very close at the moment.
yeah.
And so everybody in the pit lane now, we're just waiting for the next set of runs to get going. And who knows how much time Willows has, because of course we saw at the end there that he was getting slightly held up by the McLaren of De Rosa there. So whether that affected him by possibly going to the top there, we'll have to wait and see. But he'll have a fresh batch of tyres, and we're hoping that set of tyres. He'll be hoping that he doesn't get any traffic this time by, as we wait for cars to go down pit lane. Looking from the POV of Lincoln Campana at the moment, with the Mika Hakkinen helmet that he has on. Obviously, Yuri approves of that, as Campana just waiting to go out for his second flying lap. Of course, we're waiting for one of the cars. I think I can see some movement on the minimap. I'm not 100% sure. I could be wrong on that. And I was correct, and it is Lopez. So just like we saw quite a lot in Q1, he's going to be the first on this run to go out onto the track. So out on the track goes the championship leader, currently down in 6th position behind Paulino Tomaselli. So we're looking to see if he can improve on his lap. 3 tenths off his teammate Armar Carr at the moment. Carr looking to see if he can make it 2 pole positions in a row this season. Obviously took pole last time out in Baku, looking to see if he can get another pole today, as he desperately wants to see if he can get his first victory as a Mercedes driver this week, if he can, to see if he can make it 4 different winners in the first 5 races. So Lopez now then, obviously the only double winner this season, making his way down towards the hairpin. And so far been a very good start to the season with Lopez. Of course, we did say this about him last season, and it didn't go according to plan for the second half of the season. And we're hoping that fate doesn't repeat itself this season as he makes his way through turn 6 and 7, before approaching the long, swooping right-hander on the racetrack, making his way down the straight before approaching the hairpin. And we have just over 7.5 minutes to go in this qualifying session, as Lopez now then just making his way through the left and then into the long, swooping right-hander. He will go to start his second flying lap. He'll be seeing if he can try and get close to teammate Carr throughout this run that he's preparing. Just burn left in the garage. We'll be seeing him go out on the track in just a little bit, and he does now. So Lopez will luckily not get any traffic on this flying lap as he just comes out of the final corner, and onto the pit straight he will now go. And Lopez starts his second flying lap now then, making his way down towards the first corner on the racetrack now then. And let's see what his first sector is going to be like. He obviously needs to negotiate 3 corners first before he can get to that first sector board. And now through this long swooping right-hander where we saw a couple of mistakes happen during practice, especially Tomaselli having that 360 spin. And he's 500ths off of Campana in the first sector. Let's try again. Campana? Carr, sorry. 500ths up on Carr in the first sector there. I don't know why I said Campana. I have no idea why I said that. Anyway, coming out of the corner we go now then, heading towards turn 6 and 7 on the racetrack now then, through the left and then into the right-hander, before approaching the long, swooping right-hander goes Lopez. Let's see if he can still be up on Carr in the second sector. 500ths up on the first sector. Let's see what his second sector is like. And he's still up on Carr in the second sector there then. So he's currently going quicker. 2 tenths up on Carr, I should say, in the second sector. Lopez doing what he did in Q1 and finding some more time on the board in his second flying lap. Let's see what his last sector is like. Through the Mickey Mouse chicane he will go now then at the end of this flying lap. Into the chicane, flicking it in for the left, then into the right, and then approaching the final corner he will now go on the racetrack. And let's see if Franco Lopez is able to top Carr. Across the line then goes the championship leader, and yes he does. Lopez goes to the top of the timing sheets by 2 tenths of a second. A good lap from him there. Motrin also on an improvement at the moment. Let's see where he can go, and he slots into 7th position. Carr meanwhile improves but remains in 2nd position, as Gal improves to go up into 5th position. Keep Up meanwhile goes into 9th position, getting above Roke, I believe that is. Yes, it's a bit blurry on my end, the timetable, as Mackenzie goes up to 12th, as Chung goes fastest. Chung goes to the top of the timing sheet, getting above Lopez. Willow's not able to improve that time by, remains in 6th position. Campano improves but remains in 16th. Catalan coming across the line in the Toro Rosso doesn't improve at this point in time. Here's Franco Gamba, who's also on an improvement. Can he knock Chung off the top? Gamba across the line. Yes, he can. Gamba goes to the top of the timing seats with a 1:19. The first to break into the 1:19s. Tomaselli goes up to 5th. A good time for him there. De Rosa goes up to 8th. So both McLarens improving on that run. Here comes Gomez across the line. No improvement for him either. Byrne not on an improvement at the moment. He's down in 12th. So both Renaults currently in the drop zone at this point in time. Let's see if the Irishman can find some time in the last sector, and he doesn't. He remains in 12th position. So after those runs, it is Gamba at the top with Chung in 2nd and Lopez in 3rd position. But again, Tomaselli looking impressive.
Yeah, pretty impressive load by Franco Gamba. First man into the 119s.
Definitely indeed. A very, very good run there for Franco Gamba. And looking to be a threat for pole position a little bit later on. Same with the Ferraris and the Mercedes. All three teams looking very, very close, it seems. The top three teams looking very close for pole position. I can't wait for Q3 to start, that's for sure. Just over 4 minutes left. We might get one more flying lap in for a few other guys. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, if they get out below that 1 minute 19 threshold, then they won't be able to do a lap. But we'll have to wait and see if everybody can do one more flying lap, or it'll only be a select few that can do that one more flying lap before the end of Q2. Preferably, the bottom six will want to get out before that 1 minute 19 threshold. We'll have to wait and see, of course. As Kupok currently in the top 10, he looks like he could make it into Q3, but I wouldn't hold my breath just yet because obviously we've still got some time left. But currently he is on the cusp of Q3. And I think it'll be the first time since Australia they'll make it into Q3, because I don't think since Australia he's been in the Q3. So it'd be nice to see Kupok back in the top 10. If he can make it, of course, as Campana pulls himself back into pit lane in 16th position, 6 tenths off of Gomez. So far, Gomez, of course, will be starting in last because, of course, he has that 10-place grid penalty that he had from he had from Azerbaijan, causing that pile up at the start. For anybody who needs a reminding or is just tuned in, of course, as Campana being wheeled back into the Williams garage. The second to last garage in the pit lane, of course, Mana occupying the last garage in the pit lane that they have done for the last couple of seasons. So that is Campana now then. They're getting lifted off there by the Williams guys. Just 3 minutes left now in the session. Let's see if anybody else is going to go out for that final flying lap. And we are. It's a Mercedes. I believe that's Lopez again from the looks of it. And it is. And it looks like a Racing Point is also going out as well behind him. And it's Roland Motrin. So those two guys are going out. But will anybody in the bottom 6 also go out before that 1 minute 19 threshold? So Lopez going out on track to see if he can try and get back to the top before the end of the session. Try and see if he can get above his fellow Franco. As Roland Motrin, who is currently in 9th position, he probably feels like he needs to improve in case anyone from the bottom 6 goes out on track, because they could potentially knock him and Kupok out. Kupok also doing the same thing. A few guys going out. As Campana going out to see if he can try and see if he can perform a miracle in that Williams and try and get into the top 10 if he can. As some of the guys are waiting around, including the 2 McLarens and I believe the 2 Renaults as well. Let's see as they make their way through the hairpin. Then goes Lopez. So again, he'll be the one setting the first flying lap of this final run of Q2. As they'll now make their way towards turn 6 and 7, flicking it in for the left and then into the right-hander. As they'll soon be flicking it in through the long swooping right-hander on the racetrack. Only Campana from that bottom 6 is out on track at the moment. And so they make their way down towards the hairpin. The other 5 need to be quick because there's only just under 2 minutes left. If they're not within that 1 minute 19 threshold, they won't get another lap and they will be out in Q2. As now they make their way through the long swooping right-hander now then. Heading in towards this last chicane through the right and then into the final chicane we will now go. Flicking it in through the left and then into the right. And I think, is one of them out on track now, or is that just my stream that's doing that? No, Catalan's out on track, so he'll be looking to see if he can get out as well. And Mackenzie has also gone out onto the racetrack as Lopez crosses the line to start his final flying lap on the racetrack now then. Just a few seconds to go. Roke has gone out. No, it's only Byrne and Roke left to go out. They need to be quick, otherwise they will be out. And they are going to be out. They both missed it, so both Byrne and Roke are officially out in Q2 because they did not get out in time. Mackenzie, Catalan, Gomez and Campana still have a chance to get themselves into Q3. So Kupok, Motrin and Motrin are not safe yet. Lopez down on his personal best in the first sector there and 3 tenths off of Gamba in the first sector as he makes his way down towards the hairpin. Off the turn now, then he will go as they'll both as he'll now make his way down towards turn 6 and 7 on the racetrack now then. So flicking it in through the left and then into the right-hander will go Lopez, as he'll soon be now going towards this near flat-out right-hander before heading down towards the hairpin. And let's see what his second sector is like and see if he can find some time anywhere. I don't think he will, but we'll see. And no, he's 9 tenths off of Gamba in the second sector, so it doesn't look like that Lopez is going to be improving at this point in time. Through the left and then around the long swooping right-hander he will now go. And now they'll make their way towards the final chicane now then we will go, as they'll make their way in towards the left and then into the right. And a few seconds left on the clock, but it's not going to matter anyway because the guys, apart from Roke and Byrne, the guys will all get one more flying lap in. and probably somebody else in the top 10 who probably didn't make it either. I'm not 100% sure. Lopez didn't improve. He remains in 3rd position. Here comes Motrin. He's not on an improvement. He remains in 9th. He's got to hope that that's enough. Tomaselli hasn't done enough to start a time, but I think he's through anyway. Another impressive session from the Italian.
So he's done it. He made it, I think.
Oh, he just made it, did he? He just made it. Okay, never mind. I think Tomaselli just made it then. So Gal doesn't improve. He remains where he is. Here comes Carr across the line. He doesn't improve, remains in 4th. Here comes Q-Puck, who's currently in the cusp of the top 10, and he improves, but remains in 10th, so I have to hope it's enough. Roke, of course, is out. Campana is up on his personal best, but whether it'll be enough to get into the top 10, I'm not sure. Campana crosses the line, and he remains in 16th, so he's out of the session, but still a good session nonetheless for Lin Campana. De Rosa did just make it, of course, so he's on a lap, and he is improving at the moment. He's currently in 8th position, as he'll just make his way around the final sector on the track now, then flicking it in through the right as he'll make his way into the final chicane through the left and then into the right as he'll now make his way into the final corner, as he'll now come down the pit straight, and let's see what De Rosa can do as he'll now come across the line. And let's see if he can improve. And he can, but he remains in 8th position. So he improves on lap time. Wallowsy's not improving, surprisingly. So not the best of sessions. He'll be looking to see if he can improve in Q3, but he remains in 7th. Here comes Catalan, who's in the drop zone. He's not improving, and I don't think he's going to improve on this lap. Across the line goes Catalan, and nope, so he is out. He remains in 14th. Chung, meanwhile, is improving. Can she knock Garber off the top? No, she lost time in the last sector, so she remains in 2nd place. Jay McKenzie, meanwhile, is not on an improvement, and he is out. Garber doesn't improve either. Here is Gomez, who's on the improvement. Can he get it into Q3? And no, he can't. He goes up to 12th, but he is out of the session, so he will be starting in last position. Unfortunately, he didn't avoid last place, so Gomez will be starting last tomorrow due to his 10th place grid penalty. Tomaselli not on an improvement, and he remains where he is. And I think that's everyone done in Q2. So there you have it. That's the end of Q2. Garber quickest from Chung in 2nd and Lopez in 3rd position. And we're going to go to the menu and read out the bottom 6. So as mentioned, Franco Garber top with Laura Chung in 2nd and Franco Lopez in 3rd. And the bottom 6, of course, being George Roque, Gabriel Gomez, who will start in 22nd due to his 10th place grid penalty, Evan Byrne in 13th, Jay McKenzie, Matteo Catalan, and Lin Campana. They are the 6 who didn't make it. So that's Q2 done. What did you make of that session, Ray Hall?
Yeah, pretty interesting session. And also, between Gomez to McKenzie are pretty close between those 3. And also between Evan Byrne and George Roque, just exactly a 10th between George Roque and Evan Byrne. So, yeah, it was pretty close.
Very interesting session, it must be said. And I think we've got a very fascinating battle for pole position, it must be said. All 3 of the top teams looking to be in the fight for pole position later. We'll have to wait and see how that one develops. It's going to be very interesting to see who you guys think is going to get pole position for tomorrow's Spanish Grand Prix. Leave your predictions in the stream chat. Who are you going to go for pole position, Ray Hall, whilst we wait?
I don't even know. I'm probably going to go for Lopez as a bold one.
Okay, I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with Franco Gamba to see if he can finally get his first ever pole position. It'll be very interesting to see. I'm going to go for it. In fact, I'm going to go with Gamba for pole position. It will be very interesting to see, though, because I think all 3 teams have a good chance of getting pole position in this session. We'll have to wait and see how that one develops, of course. It's in the tweet setup, guys, whilst we wait for Q3 to start. And you'll hear my typing again. You just hear me typing in the background there. And I can see that somebody's predicted Tomaselli. It's a bold one, it must be said. I mean, he has been impressive. Nothing wrong with that, of course. It's a bit of a bold prediction, must be said. But, if he does get pole, then it would probably be the surprise of the season. He'd probably have to pull off an Evan Byrne style performance like in Hungary last season, where he nearly got pole position. But it's not impossible. He has been very impressive, it must be said. But we'll have to wait and see, of course.
Yeah.
We've got the stream back up now, guys, and I've just finished the tweet just in time there. So we've got the stream back up now for Q3, and of course, as mentioned, it will be a dry session. So again, leave your prediction on who's going to get pole position, but without further ado, let's get into this, shall we? I'm definitely looking forward to this one. Hopefully, it doesn't disappoint, because as we've seen from the first two sessions from Q2, it looks like it could be a very fascinating battle for pole position. As we just wait for the loading screen to finish loading, and we'll get into the pit lane at Barcelona. And here we are then. So we are now in pit lane, of course, and it will be very interesting to see who is going to get pole position in this session. So obviously I've gone with Gamba. Ray Hall has gone with Lopez, I believe you said.
Yeah, Lopez.
A lot of you I think there's some of you have actually quite split in the chat. Very split, it must be said. Some people saying Gal as well to pull up a surprise. It will be very interesting indeed. But Q-Pock is the first to come out onto the track for Q3. And as you can see, the clouds are cleared. We've now got sun in the sky as expected. So Q-Pot now then making his way towards the first few turns. And he'll be, just like in Q2, setting the benchmarker time for everybody to beat as he makes his way for the long swooping right-hander before heading the way towards turn 4. Under the bridge we will go then, flicking it through the right. And it will be very interesting to see who gets pole position in this session. Will it be a Mercedes, will it be a Ferrari, or will it be a Red Bull, or even maybe a McLaren could spring up a surprise, as we've seen from the performances of Tomaselli in this session. We'll have to wait and see. It's Q-Pot now then, making his way towards turn 6 and 7 on the racetrack now then, as he'll make his way towards the near flat out turn 8, flicking it through, as he will now go down towards the hairpin. And will be, of course, starting his lap very soon. Through the hairpin he will now go, as he will now approach the next section, of course, through the left, and then through the right he will go. And now heading towards the final chicane on the racetrack now then, Q-Pop through the right, and then into the last chicane we will go, flicking it in for the left, then into the right, and then heading towards the final corner we will now go then. David Q-Pop is going to be starting his lap very soon, and he will start his lap round about now then. So here we go then. So Q-Pop down this very long run towards the first corner, just passing the pit exit there, and then into this medium speed turn 1. This is probably where we're going to be seeing one of the overtaking points in the race tomorrow, along with the hairpin as well, providing there's not that much contact. Through this flat out right-hander we will go now, then goes David Q-Puck before making his way towards turn 4. It's a 20.6 in the first sector there then for David Q-Puck. I think roughly a bit slower than what it was on his first run of Q2, but anyway, Q-Puck now then through this hairpin he will go, using a bit of the curb on the exit before making his way down towards turn 6 and 7 on the racetrack. That left-hander, of course, not counting as a corner, flicking it in through the right as well, as they'll now make their way towards the near flat-out turn 8. We go on the track now then, using a bit of the curb on the outside before heading their way down towards the hairpin in the end of sector 2. Let's see what Q-Pot split is like. 51.445 in the second sector there for David Q-Pot. Coming out of that hairpin now then, flicking it in for the left and then slowing it down a bit for this long swooping right-hander before heading your way towards the Mickey Mouse chicane, breaking through this 90-degree right-hander before heading your way towards this very slow chicane, flicking it in for the left, using all the curb as possible through the right as well, using a bit of the curb on the exit. Round the final corner we go. David Q-Pot now then, going down the pit straight and across the line he will go. What's the lap time going to be for the German? And it's going to be a 1:22.075 for the German. Here comes Franco Garber now then, probably one of the contenders for pole position. Garber across the line, and it's a 1:20.251 over a second clear of Q-Pop. Here's his teammate Miklos Gal. Let's see what his time is going to be. And he goes fastest. He goes above Garber at the moment by 400ths of a second. Here comes Roland Motrin in the racing point. Across the line he will now go, and he slots himself behind Q-Pop into 4th position. Here's Paulino Tomaselli in the McLaren, down on Gal in the sector times. Let's see where he can place his McLaren. As he'll come towards the final corner goes the Italian, and across the line will go Tomaselli. And let's see what he's able to do. Across the line goes Paolino Tomaselli, and he slots to third in front of Q-Pop. Chung, meanwhile, goes to third behind the two Red Bulls. Not quite on pace there that time by. Here comes De Rosa across the line, and he slots behind Tomaselli into fifth. Here comes Amar Kar in the Mercedes. Let's see what he can do. Can he challenge Gal for pole position? Kar now coming down the pit straight, and across the line goes Amar Kar, and no, he can't. He slots behind the two Red Bulls into third. Lopez moving across the line. He slots to fourth behind the two Red Bulls. Here comes Joseph Willows in the Ferrari. Can he beat the two Red Bulls across the line? He will go. And no, he doesn't. He slots to 7th behind Tomaselli. So at the moment, it is currently a Red Bull 1-2 with Gal at the top and Garber 400s behind him in second.
Yeah. Impressive stuff from Red Bull 1 and 2. Especially I am the Red Bull test driver, so I will be pretty happy with that.
Indeed. So you'll obviously be hoping they keep that up. At this point in time, Willow surprisingly down in 7th. Obviously, he did struggle a bit in Q2 as well, so maybe that qualifying pace starting to translate a little bit into Q3 as well. Chung only 5th, a bit surprised by that. I thought she'd be a little bit higher after being in 2nd for the last 2 sessions, which is a bit of a surprise. But so far, advantage Red Bull after these first runs. Will it stay like that though? We'll have to wait and see, as we have just over 10 minutes to go in this session, and that's it. And so Q-Pop being wheeled back into the garage. He's just ahead of Motrin. And of course, so far 6th and 8th at the moment for the two McLarens. Tomaselli in the top 6 ahead of De Rosa, as Q-Pop has just been wheeled back into the garage by the Toro Rosso mechanics. As he's been jacked up, and he'll be ready to go for the second run in just a little bit. Will the Red Bulls keep that 1-2 in the second run? We'll have to wait and see. Willow's just coming back into pit lane. He desperately needs to find a way to improve. 9/10 off of the Red Bulls. Not great at the moment for Willows, it must be said. And Tomaselli being wheeled back into the garage by the McLaren mechanics. And so far, having a very good session at the moment is the Italian, as the mechanics get to work on his car now then. They lift the jacks up on his McLaren. And we're ready to go for the next session. And it looks like his mechanics are either getting ready for De Rosa to go out, or he's just coming to pit lane. I'm not sure. But anyway, we're looking at Motrin as we just wait for the next cars to go out. And it's a Red Bull that's coming out, and it's the man who's currently in second, Franco Garber, who's looking to see if he can try and beat Gal and try and get his first ever top-class pole position, as he just makes his way out on the track. Currently 400 off, so he needs to find a little bit of time, but let's see if he can do a Franco Lopez and do a very good second flying lap as he makes his way out on the racetrack through the right, left, and then flicking it in through this long swooping right-hander. He will go on the racetrack now then, and making his way towards turn 4 at the moment. He'll be hoping, I think everybody will be out on track before he gets back around, so I don't think Garma should worry too much about traffic, as he'll be looking to try and get his first ever pole position. Through the left-hander he will go now then, out the hairpin. So he'll make his way down towards turn 6 and 7 on the racetrack now then, flicking it in for the left, and then into the right-hander he will go before approaching the near-flat right-hander, as his teammate Gal has come out onto the racetrack, so both Red Bulls are now out on the racetrack. And Garma making his way towards the hairpin. As Q-Pop out on track, so all 3 Red Bull cars in this session are now out on track. Q-Pop making his way out on the track now then, and we'll soon be seeing everybody else coming out, including De Rosa, who's just gone out now. And hopefully there'll be no traffic for Garma, of course, because he's nearly approaching it actually. So let's see if there will be traffic actually for Garma. So I might have got it wrong here, but hopefully for his sake there will not be any traffic for Franco Garba as he makes his way out the final corner and onto the pit straight. He will now go to start his second flying lap. Heading down the pit straight, he will now go. And there is a bit of traffic there. This might be a bit of a problem for Garba. Let's see as they make their way towards the first corner. And luckily, that traffic looks a little bit far away from him. And that traffic, of course, being the Mercedes. It's the Mercedes of Car, in fact, because Lopez is still in pit lane at the moment. Through the long right-hander, let's see what Garba's first sector is like compared to Gal. And it's 1/10 off of Gal in the first sector at the moment. So he's currently not on the pace at the moment compared to Gal. But let's see what his second sector is going to be like. If he gets any closer to that Mercedes towards the end of the lap, he could get some healthy slipstream down that pit straight to possibly try and help him out a bit. We'll have to wait and see. Heading down towards turns 6 and 7 on the track we go. Then goes Franco Garva, flicking it in for the left, then through the right, as they'll now make their way towards this long swooping right-hander on the racetrack. Amber now then down the back straight now. Then let's see what his second sector is like. 2/10 off of Gal, so at the moment it doesn't look like Garba is going to be improving, but he'll be hoping to see if he can get one more flying lap in to see if he can
if we can beat Gal. So far, he's not improving at the moment. He goes for the chicane. And now it's one more corner to go. He's not. Doesn't look like he's going to improve. So he will stay second at the moment. Yep, he didn't improve. But Nicholas Gal, he's actually improving.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, my mic decided to play on me there for a minute. But Gal is improving on his current best at the moment in the middle sector, as you can see. Rounding this long swooping right-hander we go as he makes his way towards the last chicane. And let's see what Gal can do now. They're flicking it in for the left, then through the right, as he'll now make his way towards the final corner. Can he improve on his 1 minute 20.2? Heading down the pitch straight and across the line will go Miklos Gal. Can he improve? And yes, he can. It's 1 minute 20.057. As Kupok, meanwhile, is on an improvement. Let's see what the German can do. As he'll now make his way down the pitch straight. And Kupok is now going to cross the line. And he improves to go up to 8th. So he gets in front of De Rosa there. Very good time there. De Rosa on an improvement. Let's see if he can get that position back off him now then. And he does so. He gets back in front of Kupok to go over to 8th. As Willows goes up to 3rd. So Willows finding some time to get up into 3rd position. Here comes Roland Motrin now then. Coming across the line. And he improves to go over to 8th. Laura Chung, meanwhile, she improves but remains in 6th position. As we now look at Paolino Tomaselli making his way around the last chicane. Through the final corner then will go Paolino Tomaselli. And let's see what Tomaselli can do. Can he find some time in the last sector? No, he can't. He remains in 10th position as Carr goes up to 2nd. He split the 2 Red Bulls as Lopez is up on Gal. So this is interesting. Here he goes now then, going around the hairpin. Let's see what Lopez can do as he makes his way towards the final chicane now then on the track. Can he knock Gal off the top as he makes his way into the last chicane now then through the left, through the right. Let's see if the Argentine can knock Gal off the top. He's looking quite good at the moment. Lopez out the final corner and onto the pit straight. Goes Franco Lopez. Can he knock Gal off the top of the timing sheet? And yes, he can by 1 minute 19.784, the fastest that we've seen this session. Lopez to the top of the timing sheet. What about that at the moment? Will we get one more flying lap in for the 2 Red Bulls? We'll have to wait and see. We have just over 4 minutes to go in this session. So at the moment, it is Lopez on pole.
Yeah, brilliant lap by Franco Lopez. He turned it up. This time on that lap. So did Armaka. He did miss out on getting provisional pole. But yeah, Mercedes have turned it up in this second run.
Indeed, definitely. As Kupok now then going around his mechanics there, he'll be wheeled back into the pits. Will we get one more flying lap in? We'll have to wait and see. For some of the guys, they have to get out before that 1 minute 19 threshold. So I'll have to see on that. Some might, some won't. We'll have to see on that as Kupok gets wheeled back into the garage by the Toro Rosso mechanics. And whether Lopez will get one more lap in, I'm not sure. He'll probably have to hope that that time is enough for him to get what will be, I think, his second pole of the season, because he took pole in Melbourne, of course. So Kupok just waiting to see if he's able to get one more flying lap in. Lopez coming back into the pits, the man who's currently at the top of the timing sheets by nearly 3 tenths ahead of Miklos Gal, as a Red Bull is going out, and it is Franco Gamba, so he will be getting one more flying lap in, and he'll be hoping he can improve on this run, as he'll be flicking off the pit limiter very soon, which he does. So Gamba now going out onto the racetrack with just under 3 minutes to go in this session. And let's see if anybody else is going to join him before that 1 minute 19 threshold. Through this long swooping right-hander we will go. I wouldn't be surprised if Gal goes out on the track as well after that run. We'll have to see. As Gamba around the long swooping right-hander he will go. Gal is going out on the track, so he's going to see if he can try. Both Red Bulls are looking to see if they can try and knock Lopez off the top of the timing sheets. The Ferraris definitely need to get a move on at the moment. Currently locking out row 3 at the moment. Willow's 4 tenths off of Lopez, and Chung are further 4 tenths behind Willow's. Not the best of sessions at the moment for Chung. As Gamba now then through turn 6 and 7 he will go. Anyway, through this long swooping right-hander. Gal out on track. De Rose is coming out on track to see if he can better his lap time. And Gamba now then through the hairpin he goes. And he'll now come towards the left and right-hander now then. Swooping it in, he'll go, and he will soon be starting his final flying lap in just a little bit through the right and then into the last chicane. He will now go, flicking it in for the left, then into the right, and now heading towards the final corner we will go. Will anybody else join Gal, Gamba and De Rosa? They have. Motrin has just gone out onto the racetrack, anybody else from that top group going to go out as well as Garber starts his lap as he makes his way down the pit straight now, then heading towards the first corner on the racetrack now then. And luckily that traffic didn't affect him there. It got out before he got to the first corner there. So let's see what Garber's first sector is going to be like. Through this long, swooping right-hander, we will now go. It's just Tomaselli left that needs to come out onto the racetrack. As let's see his first sector, 1/10 down on Lopez in the first sector there. And Tomaselli is not going to be coming out onto the racetrack. So he's going to be starting a maximum of 7th position. So through the hairpin there goes Garber. Let's see if he can find some time in that second sector at the moment as he'll make his way towards turn 6 and 7 now, then through the left and then into the right-hander and then through the medium speed turn 80 will go before approaching the end of the second sector. Down the straight now then goes Franco Garber. Let's see what his second sector is like, and it's I think that's just 5/10 off of Lopez, so he's not improving. It looks like he's going to remain in 4th position, so it looks like Garber is not going to be able to get pole position off of his fellow Franco, and he desperately needs to finish ahead of him in this race to not lose any more points to him in the Drivers' Championship. Here comes Garber now then, heading his way into the final chicane through the left, then into the right, and then heading his way into the final corner then will come Franco Garber. Down the pit straight goes the Italian, and across the line he will go. Let's see if he can find a miracle in the last sector, which he doesn't. He remains in 4th. Willow's car and Coupot will just be about to start their final flying laps. Gal is not improving. He's 8/10 down in the second sector, so it looks like Red Bull are not going to get pole position at this point in time as Gal makes his way towards the corner. Tomaselli will not have enough time to start a lap as now going through the final chicane then goes Miklos Gal through the left and then into the right as the checkered flag is now out. That will be the end of the session. Gal now then down the pit straight. Let's see if he can find some time in that last sector. I don't think he will. Across the line he will go. And no, he remains in 2nd place. Tomaselli didn't have enough time to do a lap. De Rosa, meanwhile, is improving on his personal best. But whether he can get out of 10th place, we'll have to wait and see. Coming into this final chicane, he'll now go, flicking it in for the left, then through the right, and then into the final corner now. Then we'll go Kirishima De Rosa, as he will now come down the pit straight. And across the line will come the Polish driver. And let's see if he can improve. He does, but he remains in 10th position. Motrin, meanwhile, is not improving. So at the moment, it looks like he's going to remain in 8th position. Through the final chicane, we will now go. As they'll now approach the final corner. And now making his way down the pit straight now. Then goes Roland Motrin. And across the line will go the Hungarian. Let's see. And he does not improve. Laura Chung is improving. Let's see what she can do. Across the line she will go. And she goes up to 4th. So she proves big there. Lopez is on improving his pole lap. But he loses time in the last sector. Here comes Joseph Willows now then. He's not on an improvement. And across the line he will go. And he remains in 6th position. Amar Kar, meanwhile, he's not on an improvement. And he does not improve. Coupot, meanwhile, could improve on his position. And he does. He goes up to 8th ahead of Motrin. And that's that. So for the second time this season, it is Franco Lopez on pole position for tomorrow's Spanish Grand Prix. It's going to be very interesting indeed. We'll see the qualifying lap. So me and Ray Hall will shut up and we'll let you see the pole position lap time in all its glory. Hopefully there's no buzzing in the background this time around. And that is how Franco Lopez got pole position. A very impressive time for the Argentine, and definitely good news for him in his championship. But the question is, can he convert it into make it 2 wins in a row tomorrow? We'll have to wait and see, of course. But again, a very impressive lap there from the championship leader to take pole position for tomorrow's Spanish Grand Prix. As we just wait for the menu screen to appear. And it does now. So here is the grid then for tomorrow's races. It's Franco Lopez on pole position with Miklos Gau in second, Amar Kar in third with Laura Chung in fourth. Franco Gamba will start in fifth with Joseph Willows in sixth. Paulino Tomaselli is in seventh with David Kupok in eighth, Roland Mochrin in ninth, and Kirishima De Rosa completing the top 10. So what did you make of that session overall, Ray Hall?
Yeah, it's been a great session. Franco Lopez did a really good lap to get pole position, as you could see, and yeah, he just smashed Q3 brilliantly, at least, and he took it away from Miklas Gau.
Absolutely, a fantastic lap from Lopez indeed. Well, there you have it then. That has been it for the qualifying session here in Spain. Obviously, we're not going to be commentating tomorrow because, of course, George does the commentary for the highlights. But until then, I've been JW97. He's been Ray Hall. Hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. BST for the 66 lap Spanish Grand Prix. Don't forget, later on today at 7 p.m. BST, we have the GP2 race here at Barcelona, which sees, of course, Bence Valdinger on pole position. Can he convert it into the win? But until then, I've been JW97. He's been Ray Hall, and we'll see you tomorrow for the 66 lap Spanish Grand Prix. Take care.